The Ocelot, an inexpensive, compact, grub-resistant boat garage with a footprint small enough to fit easily in otherwise difficult-to-build locations. With nearly 9 large boxes of storage, space for up to 3 sleeping bags, a workbench, a repair bench, a locker, and 2 furnaces, the Ocelot has all the tools a solo or duo need for it to comfortably function as a secondary base of operations, or perhaps starter base for the aquatically inclined. With a modest build cost and minimal upkeep, the Ocelot can easily last the wipe start to finish. Let's take a tour. We enter the Ocelot through a single sheet metal door into an airlock with great visibility. Through another sheet metal door, we are met with a secondary airlock. Well, not really an airlock because you can crouch under, but this little crouching area is protected by a shotgun trap. Through our third sheet metal door, we're met with a garage door, which leads to our boat garage, as well as the secondary living area. Boat garage is defended by an auto turret, contains some Dropbox storage, as well as a pair of shotgun traps guarding the initial exit entrance. Up in the living area, we have some furnaces, a locker, some sleeping bags, and a load of storage, also protected by a shotgun trap. Beyond this garage door, we're met with our workbench, additional storage, a repair bench, and then our TC compartment beyond a horizontal embrasure and a window frame. Our upkeep is fairly modest, 2 stone nodes, 1.5 metal nodes, and a little bit of high qual. And our build cost is shown on the screen here. Now let's talk about raid cost. So through doors, you can get to an optimal path of about 13 rockets with this current final form. Top down, it ends up being 16 rockets, so it's not ideal, and you're having to deal with the low walls on the inside here, kind of splitting your fire. Coming over to the side, the optimal path is going to cost you about 12 rockets, 4 for stone wall, another 8 for sheet metal. That's going to get you access to basically all loot and TC. You can add additional honeycomb to this, upgrade your walls to sheet or armor to kind of make it a little beefier. But again, this is meant to be a secondary base. You're not supposed to keep a whole lot in here. As long as what's inside here is less than the cost of 12 rockets, then I think you're kind of okay to kind of leave this as it is. Once you've found your build location, go ahead, take a square foundation out into the water a little bit, and place it so that the 4 corner posts of the foundation are generally below the water level. We want that depth so that a small motorboat, can easily enter and exit the base, as well as allow you to mount the boat inside of the base without having to build a half wall higher. Once that's placed, go ahead, place another square foundation in front of it, and then 3 triangle foundations to the side. From here, before you turn anything to stone, go ahead and ensure that you can place a triangle piece on all around the edge of the base. This is just going to ensure that you can add honeycomb to the base later if you want to, or an airlock to the front for your boat. If you don't plan to do either of these things, you can skip this step. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and secure the first floor. Go ahead and place a wall frame where you intend the boat to exit the base. To the left of it, place a wall piece, and then a single doorway, and then wall pieces around the rest of the first floor. Before you forget, go ahead and stone the foundations that you've already placed. It's easy to forget to do this because they are below the water, so just make sure you go ahead and do that first thing. Then go ahead and stone the rest of the first floor. Now go ahead and place a single sheet metal door opening outward in this socket. Place a lock on it. And then a garage door in this socket, or a double door if you don't have the BP. You'll want to upgrade to a garage door as soon as possible, because otherwise when you want to take a boat in or out of the base, you're going to have to remove the door. So garage door, ideally. Once your doors are down, go ahead and place a twig half wall right here, a triangle piece just here, and then a wall piece with the outer portion facing you here. We can go ahead and stone this wall piece, and this floor piece, it's going to end up armored, so if you can armor it right now, but it's okay if you want to leave it stone for now. However, when you intend to upgrade this, you're going to need to leave this twig half wall alone. Do not upgrade it. Otherwise, you will not be able to access this floor piece once the TC is down. From here, we're going to go ahead and add another half wall right here, and a triangle floor piece just here. This is going to act as our jump up into the second floor of the base. You can go ahead and stone both of those. Then we're going to go ahead and add some square floor pieces just here. And then we're going to wall off the second floor. Walls all the way around. The walls can be a little finicky to place in some areas. Just move your cursor up and down and you'll get it. Okay. With those stoned up, we'll go ahead and just seal the roof. Try to place these triangle pieces with the base of the triangle facing the outer wall in order to avoid the triangle splash bug. And then 2 square floor pieces just here. Great. With that, your initial base is completely secure. Let's go ahead and place the TC. All right. So TC, we're going to have it sort of facing that direction, and you want to press it as far into the left wall as you possibly can. It doesn't matter how far forward or backward it goes, just as long as it's up against that wall. And it's not sort of overlapping the edge of that triangle there. Okay. Slap a lock on it. If you're playing with more than one person, ensure that when you place the code lock, everybody gets that code in place, because we're about to seal it up and make it very difficult to access. We're going to place a wall piece just here, turn that to stone. We'll put down a wall frame between these 2 floors right here. You can put 2 separate wall frames, one on top of the other, but this is the way that I like to do it. Over here, we're going to place a single door frame. Another wall frame just here. A window frame next to the TC. Outer portion facing us. And then you're going to place 2 triangle floor pieces. This is going to be a shelf for some loot just here. We will eventually seal this up, but leave it open for now. This allows us to access some of these other wall pieces for upgrading, so just leave this open for the time being. Okay, with that, the initial structure of our base is done. So now we're just going to slap a few more doors down. Go ahead and have this door piece opening outward. Slap a lock on that. I'm going to go ahead and demolish this half wall for now, so I don't forget. Slap a garage door down here. You can have it facing this way. However, part of the garage door is going to stick out of the base until you have Honeycomb down, so I prefer to have it oriented this way. And then one more garage door piece in this other wall frame. Okay. Let's get on to deployables. So next up, we're gonna go ahead and place a workbench over in this corner. I'm gonna use the tier 2 because this is a secondary base for me, but you can use a tier 1 and then replace it later. You want to get it as far into that corner as you possibly can. Next, we'll place a repair bench just next to it over in the corner here. Again, as far to the wall and as far back as you can. Next, we'll place 2 furnaces, so we can put one just back into the corner here and then one next to it just here. This gives you enough space to place a locker just next to it. So you're going to want to get it up against the wall and then try to press it as far into that furnace next to it as you can. This is going to ensure that the locker just clears this wall frame right here. Okay, with those placed, we'll go ahead and put some sleeping bags down. I like to put them in front of the locker here. So one just as far into the locker as you can get it, and then another just next to it. If you're playing with this by yourself or a duo, this is great. You can fit a 3rd sleeping bag in here. We're going to have a shelf extending over this repair bench in a little bit, and so you can put one right there, but we'll get to that later. All right. Up on this shelf here, we'll go ahead and get some storage going. I like to place 2 large boxes, one against this wall here, and then another against this back wall here, sort of forming a little corridor. Now with those in place, let's talk about a door raid real quick. So assuming they get through this garage door right here, they'll come up here, this would still be closed, right? They'll see the locker, they'll see the furnaces, they'll see these boxes here. Notice I can access this box, but I can't access this back one, right? So to mitigate raiders coming in here, what we're going to do is slap a shotgun trap just here. You don't need to rotate it at all. Just set it here. Try to line it up relatively straight. You can have it pointing a bit more towards the boxes if you want to. But we just want to get it pretty far back just here. What that does is it effectively makes it so that anyone tempted to go for that back large box there, they're going to have to jump up, and it's going to be way too late for them before they see this shotgun trap. Now, if somehow they do resist jumping up onto this shelf and they get through this garage door, or maybe they go through walls and end up in here, they can see a shotgun trap right here. So what we do to mitigate that, beyond placing a window here to protect the TC, is we place a horizontal embrasure just there. What that does is it makes it a little bit more difficult to see the shotgun trap. Granted, someone can crouch down and see it here, but, you know, it's a little less obvious. With that shotgun trap in place, let's talk about defending the rest of the base. I'm going to go to my airlock just here, and I'm going to place one more shotgun trap up here. I want to get it mounted on this wall and just as far to the right as I possibly can. What that's going to do is that if these two doors are open, anybody who tries to get up in here has to crouch, and they get absolutely annihilated just there. Honestly, even if that's the case, they're probably going to get shot right here. If someone's a little lucky, they can get here and then crouch through, but it's a bit of a challenge. Next, we're going to defend our boat entrance exit by placing two shotgun traps just here. You can, if it's too deep and you can only fit one, that's okay. I like to fit two with the depth that I've chosen for this base. And that pretty well defends a boat that you would have in this section here. Okay. With all of that down, that's our initial deployables in place. Let's move on to talking about Honeycomb. Now, at this point, you've got a solid, functioning secondary base, boat base. If you're not planning to keep any decent loot in here, this is perfectly fine. It's great as a secondary spot. You can keep a boat in here. However, if things start going really well for you and you start having loads of nice loot in here that you don't want, even in the interim while you're taking cargo or oil rig, we can secure this a little bit further. So what I like to do is, first off, honeycomb this little section right here. If we leave this unprotected, that's 4 rockets, and then they've got your boat, they've got these first 2 sections right here. Even if you've got this garage door closed, they don't have TC, but they're almost there, especially if you they do have TC if you haven't sealed this triangle yet. So what we're going to do is go ahead and honeycomb this portion here. So first we'll place 2 triangle foundations right there, just below the water. Go ahead and upgrade those to stone. The one on the right here, we're going to just put walls up. Real simple. Cap it off with a triangle, stone it all up. Very straightforward. The other one, however, we're going to place some shelves in order to get a little bit more storage, both in our boat garage and our living area. So before you seal this up, go ahead, place a half wall here, triangle floor here. Okay. Go back inside, place another triangle right here, turn that to stone. Okay. We can delete these 2 and add 2 walls right here, stone walls. Okay. On the second floor as well, we're going to do the same thing. Twig half wall, twig triangle, triangle in here, stone it up, delete those 2. With that done, we'll go ahead and seal the rest of this honeycomb the usual way. Okay. Now with that protected, there's a new best way to blow into this base. If a raider blows directly into these 4 walls right here, TC's right there, that gives them access to the boat and portion of your loot, and actually the rest of it's just over there. So it's a really critical area to protect right here. So we're going to do the same thing. This one's very simple. 2 triangle foundations, stone them both, and then just walls up. We're not worrying about any shelves this time, so just do it like that. And cap them off. Now, currently this is still a little bit dangerous. We can add an additional square foundation to get a little extra honeycomb here if we want to. It makes it a bit more expensive, and honestly it makes it look a little bit beefier, but it does better protect this section of your base. So you can do that if you want to. I'm not going to, but you know, it's up to you. Whatever you want to do. Okay. Next up, we'll complete our airlock here and finish doing the honeycombs. We're going to do 2 more triangle foundations, one to the left here, and one in front of the door. Go ahead and stone those. Wall all the way up this side. Capped with a triangle. Stone it up. And then this portion, so we wanted to decide which direction we want our airlock to open here. Now we can have it opening towards land here. And this is good because it's effectively what this does is it makes it so that our 2 exits are not facing the same direction, right? We've got our garage here, and then we'd be exiting this portion of the base. The downside of this is that it's very easy for a door camper to sneak in right here, or for somebody to sit up on this cliff here and just ping you. So what I like to do is place the door facing this direction. Now, what this effectively does is that now we'd have the doors both facing this direction. So if you've got somebody out on a boat here, they can effectively attack you from both. But you're going to see them because we're going to put a little factory door right here. The other thing that this does is if they're not on a boat, it's going to be difficult for them to shoot a gun. Somebody could be under the water with a spear gun and deal with you, but it's a lot more of a hassle for them than it is for you. So it's better to, in my opinion, to face the door in this direction. And then over on this section, we put a wall frame with a wall. So let's go ahead and just grab the pieces we need for that. Boom, boom, boom. Wall there. And then door opening inward just there. Now, this finally does create an actual airlock for us to deal with. If they do get past those, they'll end up with a shotgun trap, but now we have a proper airlock to our base, which is fantastic. So that's the outer honeycomb. Now we still have the roof to deal with. The top-down raid is still very expensive at this point. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and stone up these roof pieces over the livable area. Not stone, steel. Blech. Don't worry about the honeycomb, it's not that important. We're going to go ahead and place some low walls to divide up these steel pieces here. Make those stone. The direction the low walls face doesn't super duper matter, so don't worry about that. And then half walls around the perimeter of these steel pieces here. Those will also go to stone. This effectively turns a 4-rocket top-down raid into a 12-rocket top-down. Again, try to orient these triangles facing out that way. It doesn't super matter for the roof honeycomb, but I like to try to do it anyway. Okay. And with that, your base is much, much better protected in general. We still have a few upgrades to do on the inside, but that's basically it for the exterior of the base. We do have one other piece we want to deal with here. So our garage entrance, right? Currently, they can just blast right in through here. It's not honeycombed. If we want to honeycomb this, it's a little bit challenging to do so. One way we can do this is we can add a boat airlock, sort of extend this out by 2 square foundations, wall frame here, and then you can put either windows or shop fronts on the sides. I'd recommend windows just because the boat can easily get caught on shop fronts. Seal this off right here. And then you can add some square honeycomb right here, and that effectively protects this wall right here. However, rather than do all that, we've got shotgun traps protecting our boat entrance right here anyway. Anybody trying to raid this thing likely isn't caring about the boat too much. So what I prefer to do is just armor this bit of wall right here. It does tell people that that's protected, but they're likely not going to go through that section of the base because they see that. Okay. So then let's go inside and finish some upgrades here. Okay. Now, I'll turn off no clip for this just to kind of make it easier for you guys to see. Now, if you haven't already, you're going to want to go ahead and armor the floor piece that's underneath your TC. Okay. Once that's done, you can go ahead and seal this section off with a half wall. turn it to stone whenever you do it, but since we're upgrading the base, we can go ahead and make that sheet metal, because that's its final form. That wall right there is going to go to sheet metal, as is this. The two doorways here, we can leave their frames stone, not that important. Metal that piece of floor right here. Metal these two outer walls right here. We're not going to worry about the walls of the garage here, with the exception of this one right here, because this leads into TC. So we'll make that metal. If you want to, you can go ahead and metal the foundations as well. Not super important, but I like to do it. Okay, with that done, we'll come upstairs. Or maybe not just yet. We need to armor the bottom of the second floor right here. Otherwise, somebody who busts in through this garage door can just jackhammer through one or both of these two pieces. Probably this one, especially with that shelf there. They can just jackhammer right in. And they're nearly at TC at that point, so we want to armor those pieces. And then basically everything else is going to go to metal. So we'll go ahead and do that with each of these. Do that with the wall behind the locker here. And then this is why we left this area open right here, is we can metal this, and we can metal this guy right here. Ooh, there we are. And that's most of the upgrades to the base. Now, once that's metaled, we'll go ahead and metal these shelves here. We can seal off our floor piece right here, also turn that to metal. What that's going to do is it's going to further protect your TC, and it's going to allow us to place a little bit more storage in this section here. Yeah, so let's talk about, with that, that's all our upgrading for the most part. You can take this a little further if you want to. Obviously, you can add the reinforced glass window right here instead to couple with the sheet metal wall. You can armor more of these pieces, turn the stone to sheet metal, etc., etc. Add more honeycomb, whatever you like. That's going to increase the raid cost for sure. But this is like the base final form that I like to keep it in. Okay, final deployables. So we're going to jump up onto our shelf here. And what we're going to want to do is face a barbecue opening towards the right, and then just press it as far to the right as we can to get it out of the path of that shotgun trap. We'll place it there. Then we'll place a small box underneath it, also just as far as to the right as we possibly can. If you want to, you can fit another small box right here, but I find that it usually gets tagged by the shotgun trap as it goes through. That's not a huge issue because people who come up here aren't really going to be... It's not going to happen that often. So you can place another small box here for just a little extra storage. It's up to you. Let's come over to this shelf right here. So we could do two large boxes here. I find that placing the one sort of oriented this way is a little challenging, and especially with the horizontal embrasure there. So if you want to pick that up, you can, and you can fit a large box here pretty easily. But that's up to you. It's a little less protection for your TC. I prefer to keep it, and instead we'll orient a large box facing this way. Whoa. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to help with the rest of my box placement, I'm going to put a twig triangle right here. You're going to have to pick up your sleeping bags in order to do this. And the locker. Okay. Then I'm going to place another barbecue facing the large box, just as far back and to the left as we can. You'll see that the legs kind of stick over the edge of the triangle right there, but it's okay. Once we destroy this twig piece, it should remain standing. If you don't get it right, the barbecue may break, so just be careful with this. And then we're going to add another small box underneath it. And then we can add another small box to the left of this large box. Try to orient it horizontally. That's going to help with accessing the large box itself. Okay. With that done, we can break that piece. As you can see, when we close this up, none of the sort of boxes are exposed. And we can access everything relatively easily. All right. Now, in this area, you can add a few more barbecues and small boxes. If, however, you've got another player joining you, you may prefer to add another sleeping bag. So let me get this locker in place again. Again, you want to press it as far left into that furnaces you can. Perfect. We'll place our other sleeping bags right back where they were. And then it can be a little tricky to get this piece in with the locker there, but you can come over here, turn it horizontally, and find a spot for that third sleeping bag. You can fit another small box or two in these sections, but I'll leave that to you. With that, so now we'll come down here and work on this shelf here. What I like to do is place an auto turret just here, fairly far forward. You want to keep the legs of it on the stone bit here, and then just as far to the left as possible. And then I like to place a large box right next to it to act as drop storage for when you need to come in, drop a bunch of stuff off, go take cargo, or go count for oil or whatever else. Just place this as far back as you possibly can, and then you can destroy this, and it should work out just fine. Now you'll notice that wherever I go in this garage, I don't have cover from this auto turret. Even if I go right here, I am not escaping it. I'd have to really rush in, get underneath to escape its view, but I'm usually dead by the time I get past both of those. Makes it really challenging for any would-be raiders to deal with. As far as wiring this up goes, I usually like to place a small battery on top of my TC, just as far kind of to the left as possible. You can usually fit it right there. That allows you to just easily access the TC from this position right here. And then up on the roof, I can place a solar panel or a windmill or just whatever else you like. Solar panel is probably better for seeming a little inconspicuous and making someone think twice before coming in. But, you know, do it how you like. And of course, if you don't have an auto turret or you just aren't good with electricity, you can just throw another large box right there, and that's just even more storage for you. Okay, and with that, that's the end of our deployables inside of the Ocelot. Great.